Hello, everybody. Yeah, so, fun story. I'm an idiot, and I scheduled the stream for 9:30 tonight because I hit PM instead of AM. So, sorry about that.
I know what I'm doing.
Honestly. Anyway, I got a coffee. That should hopefully help. Oh, man, does this music remind you of launch day? Just hearing it over and over and over and over. How are you anyway? Hope you're all well. So a bit of a different stream today. Morning Elliot, morning Thomas, morning Philip, morning Bobby, morning Insight, morning Gav, morning Chelsea, morning Aaron. I think that's everyone so far. Did I put thermal paste on the CPU? Yes. And I also made sure to remove the little sticky bit of peel. Because I've never done that before. Honest. So, bit different today. We're basically, honestly, like part of me was like, I probably shouldn't stream today. I should benchmark the hell out of my 9800X3D, and maybe then put in my 5800X3D again, and then make a video and put it out on the channel. And then I thought, well, that's stupid. Why don't you just do that all live, and then we can just do it all together? So it's not going to be like necessarily us all flying around on VATSIM today. It's going to be us figuring it all out, seeing what's what. See if we can make sense of it. Was it worth it? We're probably going to do just the 9800X3D portion of the testing today. I will then, probably tonight once the kids are in bed, rip out my 9800X3D platform, put back in my 5800X3D platform, and run the same tests that we run today together on that. That way you don't have to sit through the same test twice, and ultimately the new bit is the more exciting bit, isn't it? Let's be honest. So the plan is, when we do the tests, I will press this button here and get out the way. And obviously I can still talk to you live, and you know, we can just natter away as normal. And when I come to edit the video, I can just kill my voice on the mic, and then I can do like a voiceover to make it more of a video. That's the plan. So hopefully we can do two birds with one stone. Anyway, that's the plan. Linus is in Twitch. Morning, Linus. How are you? What flight are we doing? We're not doing a flight today. We are testing the 9800X3D. We've got a series of tests lined up. In fact, I was just writing down what we might do. So I thought we'd start with the Phoenix Eddy, and we'll do auto lands. And that way I can do the same test twice. We'll set the time of day to like midday. Surely streaming on the PC will affect the results. No, I've got a separate streaming PC. Totally independent. And we'll see what kind of stuff we get. So I'm going to do... What am I going to do? Where's the A320 gone? There it is. I'm going to do Phoenix A320 at... Let's just do standard CFMs. Because that's like the OG, isn't it? We'll start with some 4K, I think. Linus is doing his last leg of the tour today. Bergen back to Gatwick. Once I get Phoenix Sim fixed. Oh no, what's it doing? The other thing we need to do, I think last night, I accidentally popped myself into 1440p because I was on my other monitor briefly. Alright, so these are the graphics settings. I'll get my ugly mug out of the way. I'm going to turn off frame gen. Okay, so we're not doing any frame gen. We're not doing any VSync. So 4K, TAA, no frame gen, no VSync, and we're using our custom graphics settings. So train level of detail anywhere between 125 and 200 is really your call. I quite like 150. Off-screen terrain pre-caching I always put to ultra. Displacement mapping I always put to on. Buildings, trees, plants, rocks and grass I go to high. Object level of detail I go to 100. There is a school of thought that going to 200 can help you because it extends the radius at which stuff is loaded in. Therefore on short final you might not get so many stutters because the stutters would have happened further out. Volumetric clouds ultra because I'm a sucker. Texture res medium. That's an interesting one actually. Normally I would go to high. I think we must have changed that last stream or something. Anisotropic filtering, 16 water waves high, ray trace shadows on, shadow maps 2048, train shadows 1024, contact shadows ultra, windshield effects high, ambient occlusion ultra, 256 for cube maps, ray marched ultra, light shafts ultra, depth of field ultra. That's really a you thing whether you want to do that or not, because I use the drone camera quite a lot for screenshots, and therefore it's important to me to get good depth of field. For you it might not be, so you can kill that one if you want to. Motion blur is off, as is the way. Glass cockpit refresh rate in 24, we can afford that to be on high now because we're not so single thread limited like we were in 2020. Character quality I put to low because I just don't want characters in the cockpit with me. Traffic is obviously off because we use VATSIM. I do the road and the sea and stuff to medium just because I can't tell the difference one way or the other, to be honest with you. Elliot, I don't think you need to anymore. As of the latest sim update, texture res, you can not have to restart the sim. That was one of the things they changed, I believe. So, that being the case, where on earth is the UK? Where on earth? Ha! Hey, Roy's in. How are you doing, Roy? Adam? Yeah, Elliot, that used to annoy the hell out of me. Alright, should we just spawn on the runway? And we'll see what we get with those graphic settings. Let's just see what happens, shall we? MSFS. Did I do a typo in the Twitch title? Let's have a look. Have I just put the CPU in this morning? No. Oh yeah, I did. I feel I made a typo. Let's fix that. Lovely jubbly. Yeah, so I got the... It all happened last week. So what happened was, I went up into the loft, I found my old GameCube, I found my old Xbox, I found my old PS3, and I traded it into CEX for a voucher. Rather than cash, because they obviously rip you off and you give you cash, but vouchers, actually the values were better than I would be likely to get on eBay, which I was very pleased about. Brilliant. Thanks, Phoenix. Let's put that landing gear out, shall we? Maybe let's restart that, because my landing gear thing was up. So I noticed then that they had 9800X3Ds available. And also RAM. Now the RAM I was a little bit apprehensive about. Like, CPUs I can kind of be like not too worried about, because I feel like with a CPU, in all my years of fixing PCs, I don't think I've ever had a faulty CPU where it's like a new CPU will fix this. It's always been motherboard, usually RAM or GPU. So I didn't really have much of an issue buying a used CPU from CEX. Wasn't thrilled about it, but I didn't have much of an issue. And given that I had a load of vouchers, it was the sensible play. The RAM, that was going to cost me like £200 and odd for a 64 gig kit of DDR5 6000 CL30. And then weirdly I noticed that CEX had a kit for that as well, and I had literally the exact amount of voucher that I had left in change was the amount for the RAM, so I was like, well, I'll take a chance. So I bought the motherboard myself. Everything else was done with vouchers. Right. Going to turn the alerts off while we're benchmarking. G-Skill, no, it's Corsair. Vengeance stuff, but it's not the RGB. It's like the boring stealth bomber grey looking stuff. Why is my sim frozen? I'll tell you what, let's kill the sim. Let's kill the sim. Because we did change the texture resolution, and I just want to be double sure. Is 32 gig of RAM enough for 24? I found it wasn't when we initially tested it. That's why I got a 64. Well, Philip sent down a 64 gig kit for me. Which, Philip, if you're in the chat still, if you want it back, just say the word. Because much like you found, it's now going to be sat around here doing nothing, I would have thought. Motherboard wise, I went for a MSI B550-P Wi-Fi. Not a crazy board by any stretch. I think it was about 180, I want to say. Rocky's just got a 9800 X3D. Nice, man. It runs hot, I'll say that much. Flight Deck Dan says I'm running 32 gigs, and I do agree with you on the upgrade. Yeah, so I was on 32, and I would routinely, especially at like... Again, it depends how you use the sim. And it depends what else you're running on the side as well, because... You know, everything takes RAM. Everything you open, if you've got like Navigraph Charts open, if you've got like 10 Chrome tabs open, if you've got like map.vatsim.net open, if you've got SimBrief open, if you've got vPilot open, all of that's going to need RAM. So it's not as simple as what does the sim need, it's like what do you need? Right, this is it, this is the big moment. Should we just spawn on the runway? Spawn on the runway or spawn on the gate? Let's spawn at the gate. Shall we? Let's get me out of the way. Gate 9. We'll see what happens. Mr. Mint says gate. Liner says gate. To Philip and Aviation say runway. I can't win with you, like, can I? Every time I say, like, what do you want to do, I get a 50-50 response. It used to be, I used to run polls. I should start running polls again on the lives. If I were to put, like, I don't know, 777 or A350, it would end up being 50-50 by the end of the poll. Almost became a running joke, like, thanks, guys. Appreciate that. Is it me, or is this taking a weirdly long time to load in? When I get the time, Linus, I will test the A350 when I've got time, but I fear it's going to be as I remember it from reading around on Reddit. Might need a faster SSD. Nah, I've got like a Gen 4 flipping 4 terabyte Western Digital SN850X thing. Ain't no problem there. I think it's like the Phoenix app being a bit weird. Push escape. Zoom out. Right again. Or we could go for the runway this time. Maybe changing planes would do it. Should we go in the minibus? Let's go in the minibus. I love the minibus. Minibus IAEs. Let me make a note of that. I think we'll do the runway this time. Oh god, Off-World's on one already. Starting early, Off-World, I love it. Love to see it. Oh no! I've just spawned at the bloody gate. Never mind. There you go. Straight in. Something weird's going on there. Ooh, right. Never mind this stupid walk. They should just can this walk around mode. I doubt anyone ever uses it. Right, let's set the weather. Should we go for few clouds and we'll set the time to midday? Good. So with the plane off, what are we getting? Eddie, V2. It's not bad, is it? That's not bad. God, with a bit of frame gen. We're so close to 60, aren't we? So close to 60. Damn. 14.7 gigs of VRAM used, of course, because, well, because of course it is. Let's get the plane fired up. Connection restored. All right, thank you. Panel state, let's just go straight to ready. Let's not muck about. We are probably going to lose a bit, aren't we? Don't know, it's holding though, isn't it? Thoughts? No workaround for the walk around, Off-World. What CPU did I have before? I had the 5800X3D before. And GPU is a 7900 XTX. Holding fairly steady, isn't it? 50 FPS, gate 9, looking straight ahead. Dude in front of us having a little dance. Love it. Love his energy. What if we look out the window? Still stuttery as hell as you move the camera, but I think that's just a sim thing. I don't think there's really a huge amount we can do. Now that's interesting. Now we're sort of looking out at more scenery. Look how we're bouncing between being main thread limited and GPU limited. So the GPU milliseconds there is at 19.5. Main thread is at like 18, 19, 20. So that is right on the cusp, isn't it, of becoming GPU limited at 4K, which brings me to another kind of thought I've been having, which is maybe it's worth me dropping down to a 1440p monitor, because last night I just came out here for like 10 minutes just to quickly do a very short bit of testing, just to play really. I had sort of 10 minutes spare. And I saw this result about 50 on the ground at Eddie. That was all I had time to do. And I thought, what if I go to 1440p? And I did it on my Dell 27-inch gaming monitor. Morning, Gnome. And it was quite remarkable just how much nicer it felt because of the variable refresh rate. And obviously I'm on a 60 Hz 4K panel. Therefore, with it being Prime Day and all, and we need to look at Prime Day deals in a bit as well. Not because I'm trying to get you to use affiliate links for any of that crap. I can't just do what you want. I'm just interested to see if there's anything on a good deal. So we'll have a look. That's not bad. Should we go outside? I mean, outside is probably going to be more GPU limiting anyway. Oh my word. Limited by render thread. That's interesting. Don't often see that, do we? It's mostly main thread. Again, about 40 at 4K. Okay. No, this is no frame generation at all at the moment. This is just raw power, baby. Just like nature intended, before Jensen became hellbent on all this AI crap. Remember when you'd buy a new graphics card and it was actually more powerful than the one that replaced it? Those were the days. More cores, more memory bandwidth, more faster memory, more stuff. Offworld says, I'm starting the process of building myself a new PC. Current build is 5 years old. Is an Intel motherboard and processor with a 7900 XTX graphics card. However, I'm tempted to go full AMD, so obviously 9800 X3D, but have not decided on a motherboard. Which motherboard do I have? I went for a MSI B850-P, I think it was. Wi-Fi. No, we're not on Ultra. We're on like my tuned graphics settings. So if you look on the channel, I did my settings for Microsoft Flight Sim 2024. We're on those. Limited by render thread. Damn. Okay, well I think there's only one thing for it. We need to do a landing, don't we? And to do that, we're going to need our good old pal FSI panel. Your friend and mine. In the cockpit. I mean, don't be thinking that because you got a 9800 X3D you're going to be immune to stutters. I think the sim is just, in its nature, a stuttery mess sometimes, and that's just the end of it, really. Did I disable the onboard CPU graphics? I've installed the chipset drivers. I don't have anything connected to the HDMI on the motherboard. That's really as far as it goes. Right, skip that update. Error my license file. Oh, I know why it is, because I've changed CPU, isn't it? Oh man, that sucks. Right, BRB. I need to do my license key, and no offense, I don't want y'all to see it. Yeah, so all my add-ons basically, because there's a new I've taken my old SSD and put it in on this new motherboard CPU combo. That's what it is. Hold the line, callers. Just need to type it in. So why not go for the 9900X? Seems like a decent jump for a small amount more. Biggest problem with the 9900X, Elliot, is that it is a 12-core CPU. However, it's made up of two 6-core chiplets. So AMD by default, they operate on 8-core chiplets. So their CPUs are made of 8-core chiplets. However, if they make one that doesn't quite fit the bill, maybe two of the cores or one of the cores isn't fast enough or doesn't work at all, they'll disable them. and then they become 6-core chiplets, and then that's how you get your 6-core parts and your 12-core parts. The problem is with a 12-core part, if you've got 2 chiplets, if you've got a task running on core number 1, and it then overspills 6 threads, and then spills into core number 7, 8, 9 and 10, on the other chiplet there's a performance penalty because it has to go across the interface that connects the 2 chiplets. So ideally, for gaming, you want a single chiplet. Right, where the hell is my license code? Come on! I bet you're loving this stream so far, aren't you? This is such a good stream. All I heard was chips and now I'm hungry. I can relate. Rumour has it, Elliot, that the latest version of the AMD processors that are coming next, instead of an 8-core chiplet, they're going to upgrade to 12. Now imagine a 12-core X3D part with 1 chiplet. That could be very, very cool. Right, where's my license key? Here it is. What I'll probably do, guys, is just read it out loud as I type it, then you can just nick it off me. No stealing my license keys, everybody. I'll have to go to JP and be like, JP, I made a terrible mistake. I put my license key out live on stream, can you help me? God, I hate typing this in. Because I've got it all on my laptop, so I have to look at my laptop screen and then manually type it into the PC, which sucks. And these license keys are quite long. So if I make a single mistake... Well, I don't need to tell you, do I? Please work. Come on, JP. Don't let me down now. Yes! Registration successful. Da, 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 da. Morning, Jonathan. Please close Flight Simulator 2024 to... Oh, you've got to be shitting me. Alright. Sorry for the language. Right, I need to shut down the sim. Which maybe isn't the worst thing in the world. I told you it'd be a weird stream, didn't I? I say we've basically got 2 choices. It's like I do this privately, quietly, just sit here in the shed all day and benchmark, or I do it live with you. So it's really up to you whether you decide to engage with this nonsense or not. Have I seen the new AI thing for Flight Sim called Skylink? Honestly, I feel like there was so much AI stuff at FS Expo. I kind of forgot what most of it is because all I heard was AI, 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 AI. I felt like I was at an NVIDIA keynote for some of it, to be honest with you. There we go. Aaron says, paste your license key in chat and we'll read it back. Thanks, Aaron. Such a good guy. Yeah, what Gav says, PC Part Picker is amazing. Yeah, I mean, you could argue this is one of the worst times really to upgrade your CPU. I maybe should have done it sooner to get more benefit. So we'll see what happens with AMD in their next round of chips. Hopefully, whatever they make will be available for AM5, which means it will work in my motherboard with a BIOS update, hopefully. If they decide to make a brand new socket, I'm going to be really angry. Because I did this last time. I bought AM4 right when it was finishing. And look at me now, I've just bought into AM5, potentially right when it's finishing. Hey ho, what are you going to do, eh? What GPU am I running, Keys? I'm running a 7900 XTX. Right, here we go then. Here we go. Well, at least this way we can spawn on the runway this time, can't we? We're on the 7900 XTX this morning, Roy. The 4080 is boxed, ready to go on eBay, but I can't bring myself to do it, and I'm tempted to pick up a PC case today on Prime Day and build a inside PC with my 5800X3D 4080 remaining parts. And if it doesn't work out, I will I could just sell the whole thing as a PC. And then that way I'm not selling components on eBay potentially to people who don't know what they're doing with them / could break them when they go to install them, and then they come back to me being like, don't work. And then I'm like, oh. Do you know what I mean? If I sell them a box that they can come here and see, have a little play on it, more than happy for you to come and hang out for half an hour and play some Warzone or whatever, make sure you like it, then just take the whole thing working as is. That might be the easiest route. Do I have a streaming PC? Yeah. Yeah, I've got my old 3070 5600X build, which I acknowledge is overkill for a streaming PC, but it was parts I had lying around and they were the lowest spec parts I had that were suitable. TBH. Right, let's get that frame counter back up, shall we? On the runway, plane fired up. Audio's breaking up. Shouldn't be. Audio breaking up for anyone else? It could be NVIDIA broadcast, I suppose. Audio is breaking up. Oh. Audio's fine on Twitch, but it's breaking up on YouTube. Could be a YouTube thing then, guys. Try maybe closing the stream, restarting it. Don't know what to say. Everyone else is fine. I don't know. It's not my fault. I buffered for a sec. Okay, fine. Look at that. Limited by GPU. Oh, right. Well, that's it. I need to get a 5090. I've got to be limited by the CPU again. How can I not be limited by CPU? Damn. I don't think I've not seen that in a while. So the CPU right now is at about 15, 16, 17 milliseconds. GPU is at 19. Let's get me out of the way for the video. Damn. How do I get my wife to agree for me to buy all these components? Well, technically it comes out of the business account, so she has no jurisdiction over that. Right. FSI panel, where art thou? God, what do I do? What do I do? Here we go. Do I do a fresh Windows install? No, I didn't. I actually, let's make sure the weather's right. Live weather off, few clouds, and we'll set it to midday. Let's do a short final, shall we? Short final or long final? I'll let you guys decide. Make your voices heard or forever hold your peace. I would say long, personally. Everyone's saying long. Long final. Alright. Done. Deal. Oh, wait. Hang on. I didn't start the thing, did I? No. Oh, controversial. Philip saying short final. Philip, you rascal. Ha! Let's move the aircraft. Now setting your flaps, speed and altitude. Stand by. I love FSI panel. It's so bloody good, isn't it? Tell you what I need to do. Start my WingFlex software. Medium final. There is no medium final. Have I got the 4080 Super? No, it's the 7900 XTX today. Oh, look at that. 60. Nearly 60. God damn. What happened? We're using a piece of software called FSI Panel to chuck us up for a quick landing so that we can measure the performance. And I'm going to do it using Autoland, because then that way we can rerun. I did not know that, Roy. That's quite interesting. Okay, hold your brakes for 3 seconds to take control. Right, I have control. How did I find out all the plugins I needed? Just perseverance, mostly. Why you not do a long haul flight? Because they are boring. Morning, Charlie. That's pretty good, isn't it? 58 FPS on short final, mostly limited by GPU. Wow, it's a real toss-up, isn't it, between GPU and CPU? That feels balanced, though, to me. That feels like we're right where we need to be. Because one way or another, you could put in a 5090, you're going to be back to being limited by the CPU again, and then you could get the newest CPU next time round, and then you're probably going to be back to being GPU limited. Like, you are going to be limited by one or the other sooner or later. Yes, it is 4K. We are in 4K. What we'll do in a minute, once we get settled, once we get a couple of results in, we will drop to 1440p. Because there's a little part of me that wants to get a 1440p monitor today, because there's a nice gigabyte one that I've seen on Prime, on the Prime Day deals, for 180 quid. 32 inch 1440p, 180 hertz. Tempted to grab one of them. Why on earth did you not go for the 9950X3D? It's only $100 more expensive and much more powerful. Not necessarily, because for gaming, by default, it will the chipset drivers will disable one of your chiplets. So it's made up of two 8-core chiplets, but only one has the Vcache. They didn't put it on both. So the chipset driver will detect a game and disable it for gaming. So for all intents and purposes, you're running on a 9800X3D style CPU. You could say, well, maybe it should. You could allow the game to spill over onto the other core, the other chiplet, but then you'll be getting performance penalties because your tasks are going over the interconnect between the two chiplets. As for me, I play a lot of other games as well, so I don't feel like I'd get the benefit, and the way I was able to afford this was by trading in a load of crap to CEX and getting a voucher, and they don't have the 99.50 anyway. Go 34 curved. I don't know if I want to do 34 curved. I feel like that would be too small, because that's just like a wide 27 inch, isn't it, really? Alright, FPS now dropping. $50.
500.
Okay, let's watch it for stability as we get closer.
400.
Can I know what the software's called? What the landing software is FSI panel. Developer's a super nice guy. Recommend you support him. JP's a legend. Oh, 40s.
300.
Getting lower. Still though. It's not 26, is it? It's 46.
200.
And this is without any auto FPS, and this is without any dynamic settings.
100.
There's a stutter.
40. 30. 20. Set. Retard.
And we're down. There we go. So landing, it was a little bit choppy on landing, wasn't it? So what we'll do now... What we'll do now is we'll do the same thing, but we'll use dynamic settings. In fact, I'll tell you what, we'll leave it. We'll taxi to the gate. Because quite often here at Eddie, I don't know about the rest of you, but it's that taxi to the gate. Now. Oh my god. Forgot to do that. It's the taxi to the gate that can kind of be the killer, isn't it, after you've landed. Yeah, we'll do dynamic settings and then we will install auto FPS. So we can do a bit of a comparison with both. That'd be my plan. Now some of you might be saying, why don't you do it on VATSIM? It's like, well, I could do it on VATSIM, but it'd be really hard to then get a true test between the 5800X3D and the 9800X3D, because imagine I did a test now on VATSIM. By the time I've ripped out the motherboard out of my case, put in the old 5800X3D platform motherboard, swapped over the SSD, enabled all of my software licenses again, booted the sim, all the traffic that's at Edinburgh could have left. So it's very, very difficult. Do I even use auto FPS? I used to, then I switched to dynamic settings, but I'm not having a huge amount of luck with it, to be perfectly honest, so I'm tempted to go back. But as for settings, we're using my preferred graphics setting, so ultra but tuned down a little bit. Look at that, we're down to 30 FPS because of the render thread. We are on Sim Update 3, it's worth noting as well. What's going on with that render thread? Why is that giving us a load of grief there? Limited by render thread. That's a new one. So we've swapped out main thread limited for render thread limited, it seems. Because this does feel a bit on the choppy side. There you go, it's gone away now. It's cleared up. .41 gigs of VRAM in use. Which isn't too bad for Eddie, is it? But render thread's back. I wonder, you know, if we're better off going down to 1440p. I do wonder that. Let's pull into stand number 9. The render thread issue I found is a Pirigi issue. It could be, I suppose, couldn't it? It just feels like at 1440p we might be away from kind of living on the bleeding edge, so to speak. I feel like at 4K you're just pushing everything to its limit. And who knows, at 1440p we might be able to put our 4080 Super back in, because... well, maybe we wouldn't actually. I'm not sure that would be a great idea. There we go, back to the gate. 46, 47. And wallop. Right, next test. I need to write down the tests that I'm doing so I can redo them later on. Okay, so test number 1 was Eddie 2.4. No dynamic settings. This time we're gonna enable dynamic settings. Do a frame rate target of... ooh, what should we do our frame rate target of? Should we go 40? Let's give that a whirl. Ah. Okay. Terrain LOD factor, it has started to crunch it down a bit. Look, point. Well, it's gone away now. So let's do another long final. Cheers, Linus. What do we enable now? We enabled dynamic settings, so we'll see if that makes a difference. Just let that settle down. What GPU have I paired? I've got a 7900 XTX at the moment. We also have a 4080 Super upstairs in the house, but I may have other plans for that. Okay, things to keep an eye on this time then are the terrain LOD factor, which is currently at 1.0, and object LOD factor, which is currently at 1.0. Because those are the things that dynamic settings are going to fiddle with. As things get tougher, the nearer we get to the ground. So limited by GPU / limited by main thread. What have you found, Wasp? King Spec 2 terabyte NVMe, 75 quid. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. I've been an AMD fanboy. Oh, it's dangerous being a fanboy of anything. I try not to be. I vote with my wallet. I'm team wallet rather than team anything. Companies will disappoint you eventually. As I think a lot of Apple fans are currently finding out. I feel like Apple have slowly slipped away, you know? Hey, Twarog's in. How you doing, Twarog? I love a good underdog story. Yeah, we're all a bit susceptible to that, I suppose, aren't we? Why is my door open? Door front cabin. Might need to redo this test on that basis. Okay, frames are starting to drop just a bit. So we've given it an LOD, not an LOD, we've given it a frame rate target of 40. So if it goes beneath 40, it will start pulling on some levers. But again, it does feel a bit like we're GPU limited, doesn't it? Hey Gnome, thanks for 5 months on Twitch.
500.
Legend. What GPU? 7900 XTX. Holding pretty steady here at the minute, isn't it? Here we go, this is where it starts to dip a bit, get a bit lower down. $45, $44. $100. $50, $40, $30, $20. Set. Retard. Okay, terrain LOD factor has been crunched down a little bit. That did seem better, didn't it, than the one before? No stutters. Yeah, that's because we were using dynamic settings. So if you paid particular attention to this bit over here, you notice that was just yellow. And now it's gone back to green. So it went down to yellow because it dropped down the terrain LOD when it realised that we were struggling a bit. Which isn't bad. Which isn't bad. However, I sort of think auto FPS is probably better. Luke says, I currently have the 7800X3D 4080 Super. 7900 worth the switch. I seem to hit the VRAM limit. Yeah. So for me, it solved my problem for VRAM. Right. Now, for our next test, for our next trick, I sound like a magician. I'm going to go to 1440p. I'm going to turn off dynamic settings. I'm going to keep my graphic settings, which is a tuned version of Ultra. And we'll see what we're looking like then. yeah, now the GPU limit is well out the way, because our GPU is taking 11 milliseconds to do its portion of rendering a frame and putting it on the screen. Main thread is currently taking 16, 17. Therefore, let's do another landing, shall we? Yeah, Luke, in an ideal world, I'd have kept my 4080 Super because I really liked it. What resolution was the test before? That's 4K. I've gone to 1440p now, Darren. It's the Phoenix A319, yeah. I love my 4080 Super too, but what I didn't love was running out of VRAM constantly in it. Now, at 1440p, maybe things could be a bit different. I don't know. Yeah, and now we're limited by main thread because I've gone to 1440p to get that GPU limit out of the way.
2,500.
Because we were limited by GPU. I know someone said we weren't. I don't know who it was. Twarog. But we were. I could tell by the millisecond frame timing on the GPU bit. Because now, look, we're getting like nearly 70, whereas before we were at like 58. Seem to only run out of VRAM with the fly-by-wire A380. So what res is 30? Oh, well, yeah, I mean, that'd be 1440p ultra-wide is what is commonly known as WASP. Is doing alright though, isn't it? This is doing alright. Yeah, 1440p ultra wide is kind of a halfway house really, isn't it, between 1440p and 4K. What's the best aircraft in flight sim I can buy below $15? The best thing you can do really is to use the fly-by-wire A32NX, which is free. TLOD is 150. And now we did have dynamic settings on for our last landing, which will adjust the TLOD dynamically if your frame rate falls below a target that you set. A350 with cabin pack is the ultimate test for VRAM. A350 is also the ultimate test for my patience. So yeah, it's all about that main thread at the minute, isn't it? What we'll do this time, we'll taxi to the gate and see if that render thread issue comes up at 1440p. Because it might be that was a 4K thing. Limited by main thread. I mean, you're going to be limited by one or the other. Being limited by main thread isn't necessarily a problem, as long as the FPS number is acceptable to you. It's like I was main thread limited on Warzone last night, but I was getting 230 FPS, so I couldn't give a toss, basically. So it's like, it depends. I was more than happy to have been main thread limited at that, because something's going to main thread or limit you, whether it's GPU main thread or otherwise. You know, something's going to do that to you at some point. It's just at what point does it happen? Good morning, David. How do you see the spec panel? That's the developer mode. Lee's in. Performing well so far, Lee. You can see, though, as we get lower, does start. I think that's
500.
basically Edinburgh getting loaded in, isn't it?
400.
What are we at? 40.
200.
45.
100. 50. 40. 30. 20. Check. Retard.
There it is. Not too shabby, is it? 50 FPS on the ground. Keep in mind this is Edinburgh V2, which I'm not convinced is... I know it's available for Flight Sim 24, but I'm not convinced it's optimised for Flight Sim 24. Not at all. So we've got a combination of... oh, David, thanks for the dono, mate. Thanks to whoever gifted me a membership before I forget. Was a couple of streams ago. But I wasn't on at the time. Oh, thanks, man. Thank you for the dono, and you're welcome for the membership from whoever that was, I'm sure. Right, now at 4K we taxied back to the gate, didn't we? And we got hit by the render thread. Just tap, thank you. Cheers, Low Sun. Yeah, it was on this taxiway as we got near to the terminal. We got render thread limited at 4K. Curious to see if we get the same thing at 1440p. I do have that Wasp, yeah. Alright, let's just totter on down. There's that render thread limit. It's back again, isn't it? Newcastle Airport. Newcastle Airport's actually default, isn't it? I think Pirigi should do a Newcastle Airport. There you go. There's that render thread. I think this is a Pirigi issue, not a sim issue. TBH. I very much suspect. And if it's anything like last time, it will go away as we turn in on Foxtrot. Oh, Echo, sorry. Ah, the Manchester that I've got isn't bad. Is it Mako? I think Mako Sims Manchester's pretty good. Okay, render thread limit went away roughly around here last time, I think. Yeah. Definitely something up with that area of the airport, isn't there? Well, hopefully they get around to fixing it. But that GPU limit is down at 13 milliseconds. Nice and out of the way. Still, I feel kind of glad that I didn't have to actually spend any real money on this. Yeah, their Birmingham one's going to be interesting for testing because presumably it's going to be optimised for 24 out of the gate. One would hope. Still at nearly 13 gigs of VRAM used at 1440p, which again makes me think even if you're at 1440p there is a benefit to having 24 gigs of RAM, because I know we're technically under like the limit of what a 4080 would be, around about 13, high 13s, low 14 gigs of range, but at the same time that is awfully close. I feel like if we were to enable frame gen or something then it'd be all over, you know. Yeah. Okay, this time let's turn on dynamic settings. Can we give it like 60 as a target, or should we keep it at 40? Let's keep it at 40 like we did last time. We'll do one more here. Then we'll move it along somewhere else. We'll have a look at Heathrow maybe, as Wasp suggested. There we go. Yeah, Birmingham will be good fun. That's got a super wavy runway as well, isn't it?
2,500.
Yeah, I suspect it is a Pirigi issue. What we'll do, we'll go to Heathrow in a minute because I've got AnyBuilds V2 of Heathrow. Also, we should maybe... we'll do a couple of landings in the 319 at Heathrow. And we'll also switch into the triple. Never thought I'd see the day though where I saw 70 FPS out of the sim. Green as well. Are we in the Phoenix? As that has performance issues at the moment, doesn't it? We are in the Phoenix. Romeo Kilo, no we don't. No frame gen. No frame gen. Again, this is the kind of FPS I would have expected with frame gen prior to this upgrade, really. Yeah, I would imagine PMDG is going to be better as well. Ah, Roger, you've basically got the same thing I've got right now. Oh, Aaron, yeah, the 19 and 21 are completely different animals. The 19, you've got to be careful with it, with energy management, because it's such a slippery eel. You've got to really watch it. Not heard that one, Gav. Yeah, we're on approach, so we're using FSI panel to set us up for landing so that we can do some benchmarking. So we're at 1440p with my preferred graphics settings, which is a slightly tuned version of Ultra. You can see the settings video I did months and months ago when 24 came out to learn all about what they are. But in a nutshell, Ultra just tweaked a little bit. And we've got dynamic settings on now, just because I wanted to see how it would react. Morning, PTFS. I haven't actually measured the temps properly yet, Romeo. So look at that terrain LOD factor, currently 1.0.
300.
If our FPS gets below 40, it should start to crank stuff down for us a bit. There it goes, 0.99. It's feeling it. 0.98. Below we get
100. 50, 40, 30, 20. Check. Retard.
terrain LOD factor currently at like 0.8. Not so bad though, that is it? Would you prefer an eGPU for a laptop? Ideally, I wouldn't play it on a laptop, to be honest, at all. No, bro, I cannot. Not bad, huh? Not bad. Right. I feel like we need to go somewhere else. Should we go to Heathrow? Heathrow, any builds? Should we do it? Let's put ourselves back to 4K though before we do. Turn off dynamic settings. Is my door open? Brilliant. Right. E, G, L, L. Go 27 right. We'll do auto FPS later on. Because I don't have it installed at the moment. Right, it might take a minute for everything to load in. Maybe we have to put this test in the bin, to be honest with you.
6,500.
Okie dokie. Hold the brakes for 3 seconds. Approach mode on. Good, let's pay attention. 57 FPS at the moment. Still kind of limited by GPU, aren't we? At 4K. Let's see what it goes down to. Four gigs of VRAM in a laptop, damn. Is it hard replacing the CPU? Not really. You need to sort of know what you're doing though, to a point. I wouldn't recommend doing it if you've never done it before. Right. Some real insightful talk going on in YouTube Vertical at the moment. 53 FPS. Come on then, let's land it. Now, AnyBuild's 24. AnyBuild's Heathrow V2 for 24. Has that been optimized in air quotes? As much as anything like that can be optimized. Which aircraft? Phoenix A319. Currently. Did I have to re-register Windows 11 when changing motherboards? It hasn't asked me to.
1,000.
That doesn't mean to say that it won't. Hello, German aviator. Right. 800 feet. This is where it could all go wrong. Where are you flying? This is Heathrow, so we're not really flying anywhere. We're just trying to test out my new CPU. Why does the runway look so poor?
500.
Why does it look so bad? It looks like there's no texture.
400.
40 FPS.
300.
30 FPS. You've noticed the runways look bad at Heathrow too lately. Yeah, I don't know why that is. I mean, crucially, it's staying above 30, isn't it? 40 seems to be the limit. It is downloading a load of stuff. My computer is downloading a ton of stuff at the minute. Look at it, 100.
40, 30, 20, 10. Retard.
Not terrible, that. Not terrible. He says. Bit of a stutter there, but that's alright. So what if we were to do dynamic settings, but this time just increase it to 45? And we'll do another long final. Oh, I can't take credit for the landing. That was an auto land. I'm getting auto land to do it all so that we have repeatable conditions. Right, nearly ready. Altitude set. Let the plane level off to get its speed, and then we'll jump down. I've gone with a slightly more aggressive dynamic settings. Let's see what it does. I guess the game is poorly optimized. Yeah. Yeah, and I went into this with my eyes open, knowing that it wasn't necessarily going to be the answer to all my prayers. The sim is still going to stutter occasionally and be a bit like here and there, but for the most part, it's been alright. So this is dynamic settings with 45 FPS set in. Is your task manager also showing that some of the GPU load is shared on your CPU's GPU? I don't know, haven't looked. Like, I did all this on Saturday, so CPU came from CEX. So did the memory, because I traded in a load of old games consoles and got about £600 of vouchers for it all. So I didn't actually have to pay for the CPU upgrade. That's why I did it. I had to buy the motherboard though. Motherboard was 180, so I had to pay 180 out of my own pocket, which I didn't think was too bad considering the rest of it was funded from a load of old rubbish I found up in the loft. How much does that setup cost? And depends. I would say probably 1,000. Probably. Actually, probably more than that. But in fairness, I didn't pay for all of it. Like, brands sent some stuff, so I can't be like telling you I paid for all of it. Alright, train LOD is down to 0.09. Even though we're not at 45 FPS yet, we are getting close to it, so it's like it's preemptively just turned down the train level of detail a bit to help us out. Yes, Jerry, I have. What motherboard did I go with? I went with a B850-P Wi-Fi from MSI. It was about 180. I didn't really want to go the whole X870E. It's so easy to needlessly overspend on your motherboard. As long as it's got PCIe Gen 4 SSDs, that's kind of all I care about really, and a load of USB ports on the back. It's good enough. Hey, Barim. No, I'm not. Sadly not, Jamie. We're doing some testing at the moment. And the airports have been picked for said testing. Terrain LOD is now at 0.50, so it's halved our TLOD to try and keep that FPS up. But in fairness, kind of is.
300.
Damn. Heathrow is a monster, eh?
200. $100. 50, 40, 30, 20, 10, retard.
Drain LOD won't go any lower than 0.5 by the look of it. It's not too shabby though, is it? What's going on here? Stuttering all over the show. There we go. So really, have I still got the Gaia one activated? Where can you see two towers? I thought I disabled that. Maybe you're right. Yeah, you're right. You're right, you're right, you're right, you're right. It's absolutely right. Bollocks. Alright. How much did my setup cost me? I've just answered that. Probably about 1,000. Right, where do I go? Where do I go? Do you have to go in the marketplace or something? My library? To access my library, go back to the home page. What? Okay. Now I'm on the home page. Now I can go marketplace. Lend me 10 quid. No. EGLL. Let's get rid of this a minute. Disable. Okay, let's try that again. No, I appreciate it, Pringle. Right, let's fire the old bird up again and we'll continue our testing. Okay, so given that all that testing was invalid, my A320 won't work for rudder. If you're on the Indie builds, you need to go into the settings and turn on rudder does nose wheel steering, I think. Do I have a private pilot's license? No.
Terrain ahead. Pull up.
Right, let's get those settings back on, shall we? Not entirely sure what the figures are going to be like for this stream when all said and done, but I need to do this testing anyway, so I figure I might as well take you guys along for the ride and I'll edit it into a video afterwards. That's kind of my plan. So apologies if you're thinking this stream's a bit weird, but it was either this or no stream at all.
1,500.
Flaps are full. Yeah, they should be for landing. Okay, hold the brakes. Approach mode on. Okay, 4K, my preferred graphic settings, ultra tweaked, no dynamic settings, this is just raw at Any Builds V2. Thoroughly enjoying the stream. Good. I appreciate it might be a bit might be a bit weird for some of you. How you doing, Alex? This is a great stream, all the work done without lifting a finger, thank you. You're welcome, man. Hey Malaysian, how you doing? Alex, I quite like the one that comes with the sim. Because we can also monitor terrain LOD factors and things like that. Are we expecting that the previously high FPS rates remain high and the previously stuttery FPS is less stuttery? That would be the ideal situation, Jonathan. Whether we get that or not is another question entirely. We'll do some thermal stuff in a bit. So it's all limited by main thread, isn't it, at the moment? Which is kind of what we want. It's kind of what you want, really. How long have I been streaming for, and how long did it take to get so many views? A long time. A very long time indeed. Oh, Magnum, thanks for the coffee, man. I appreciate you. Thank you for the $4.99 donation. Really appreciate that. Magnum, you're now a part owner in my 9800X 3D. Did I start off on YouTube or Twitch? YouTube.
500.
Okay, keep an eye on that FPS. 45 as we get lower. This is where it's all basically going to go a bit wonky, isn't it? Why is the runway so bad like that? Is that an indie builds thing? I feel like it might be.
300.
Travel Nerd, we're actually testing a new CPU, so we're doing lots of landings all over the place.
200.
45, 43, 42. Come on. Stay above 40.
100.
Dipped into... Saw a 3 then.
40, 30, 20, 10, 5.
Well, for the most part, that was over 40, wasn't it? Consistently. Now, is it going to start stuttering here? Like it did last time. As we sort of rolled along, it all sort of went a bit weird. That could have been because I had 2 sceneries installed though. Oh no, here it goes, look. Here it goes. No? No, it's okay, isn't it? This is 4K, yeah. Why is that always stutters when looking left or looking right from the cockpit? That wasn't bad, was it? Alright, so this time, if we enable dynamic settings, which we've got to 45 FPS, so if we look like we're going to dip below 45, it will jump in and try to save us. What I want to do in a minute actually is try the PMDG 777 because I feel like, because that's been an honest to goodness 2024 plane, we may see even better results still.
Terrain ahead. Pull up.
Got to be time for another coffee in a minute, surely. We'll have a half time, we'll have a coffee in a minute. Courtesy of Magnum. Thanks again, Magnum. I really do appreciate the support. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And shout out to FSI panel again for making this testing even remotely possible. What I mean is if you pan left when inside the cockpit, looking from side windows. Oh, I see what you mean. Right, so this time, same graphic settings, same everything, except we've got dynamic settings on. So look at the train LOD factor. Currently at 1.0. The idea here is that as we start to struggle for FPS, it will drop our settings dynamically. Yeah, we are landing. Well, it's not like we've come to the end of a flight. We're just testing. We're doing tons of landings. Limited by CPU a little bit and GPU. So again, perhaps another argument for 1440p. The CPU is air-cooled. I've got a Peerless Assassin. I did think about an AIO, but honestly, I just didn't really want to be like managing. I don't want to have to manage my cooler. I just want to set it and forget it. I never want to have to think about, is it getting clogged up? Is it going to start underperforming? Do I have to replace it every 3 years? I'll just put a big old chunk of metal on it. And it seems really good. Like tons of heat coming out the back of the case, so quite clearly it is getting rid of it. Curious how it looks with frame gen. So I'm on a 60Hz TV, so it's going to look bad with frame gen, I can tell you that much. However, last night I switched over to my 27-inch gaming 1440p monitor, enabled frame gen, variable refresh rate, 165Hz, and it was gorgeous. You know? So part of me is thinking, looking at the testing that we're seeing today, given how at 4K we are GPU limited, part of me is thinking maybe I should pick up a 1440p 32-inch monitor off of Amazon Prime Day today. There's one that I've had my eye on for about £180, which might not be the worst thing ever. You know what I mean. This aircraft is the Phoenix A319, Alan. There you go, terrain LOD factor 0.79. So it's dropping that terrain level of detail in an attempt to stop us going beneath 45 FPS. 0.50 is generally the lowest it will take you, I think. Excuse me, hiccup. I bet that terrain LOD factor gets lower the lower we get as well. Okay.
500.
0.73, 0.71, 0.70, 0.69. Nice. 0.68.
400.
Trying, isn't it? Like visually, I can't really tell a huge difference, to be honest with you. Like it looks like the Sim still, you know. And especially when you get this low, you don't really need the terrain level of detail to be high because you can't really see that far anyway, and draw distance is one of the main things. There you go, terrain LOD 0.5. That's its floor. It won't go any lower.
100.
Pretty damn impressive though.
50, 40, 30, 20, set, retard.
Bit of dynamic settings and that's pretty much 50 FPS all the way down, wasn't it? Quietly impressed at that. What do you think? Do I play flight sims in VR? Yeah, I've got a Pimax Crystal Light here, which is cool. Pimax let me borrow it. I don't know when they're going to want it back. Like, I've had it since, like, bloody January. They seem incredibly not bothered about having it back, which surprises me, given what it's worth. But I don't know what they would do with it if I gave it back at this point. Like, it's got my head grease like all over it. It's kind of disgusting if somebody else was to then get it, unless it was like thoroughly cleaned. I mean, obviously I keep it clean, but I'm not sure I'd want a second-hand VR headset with like someone else had been like sweating away in for months. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, I think that's dynamic settings to the rescue there, Wasp, to be honest, because look, our terrain LOD factor is 0.50 or 0.51 now. And that is the lowest it will go. Oh, you've ordered a super? Damn. Yeah, I'm living in hope they might let me try a super at some point. Because that's got the eye tracking inside, hasn't it? So you can do the foveated rendering, but the in-focus bit will follow your eyes. To me, that's the killer feature anyway. And obviously the increased resolution, but... Well, colour me impressed for that. Shall we try the same landing, but this time in a 2024 plane, i.e. the PMDG 777? Because the Phoenix is a 2020 plane that's kind of experimental, so it doesn't technically work. Where is it? It's got to be the freighter, isn't it? Let's do the freighter in DHL. This might not work because, again, PMDG might get freaked out that I've changed motherboards or something. When it comes to buying a new PC screen, especially on a big sale day, you need to... Oh, forget. You need to monitor the situation. Off-world. Just never stop. Promise me you'll never stop. I feel like I'm getting a sore throat. Quite impressed with that, 50 FPS. Like, again, I appreciate that some of you might be angry that we're not trying something on VATSIM, but it's like I can't recreate the same situation on VATSIM twice, but I can recreate this, and I feel like it's fairer. Oh, Offworld's got competition. That joke hurts. Offworld. You need to retaliate with another pun. Offworld's the Punosaurus of the stream. I've got a funny feeling this ain't gonna load. I'm just gonna load Operations Center, see if it's gonna freak out on me or not. Is it normal that my 777-300ER that I bought on the marketplace, big mistake, works on 2024? I don't think it's in 24 yet via the marketplace, is it? That was my understanding anyway. Oh lordy. Hold the line callers. Ah, we're in. Now, is it gonna potentially freak on me? Oh no. Oh, look at that. Nearly 16 gigs of RAM used, though. Menu, press and hold. PMDG, setup, load the thingy. And we'll load the runway state. You are opening people up to FSI panel. More people should know about it. Great bit of software. It is. Some people get upset that it's paid for, and I'm like, well, sorry, but you do have to pay for stuff. Like, can't just have everything for free. Like, software is really hard. It takes forever. You know, people need to get paid, unfortunately. What GPU? 7900 XTX. Good morning, Dan. Very well, thank you. You? Right. Custom aircraft. Oh, no. I've got a funny feeling we're going to have to... what the hell's going on here? FSI panel 24. Might have to back out the sim real quick. When you bought it in 2020, can you activate it if it's not to sell right now? Don't understand what you mean, Nanate. Was a modulars update. Please close. Oh no! Alright, we have to back out the sim. Luckily, it doesn't take 10 hours to start like the old one. I'll also update all the PMDG planes while I'm at it through OC3. Because that'd be the thing to do, wouldn't it? Even if it takes forever to compile afterwards. I'll do it for you. Okay. Side panel will now close. Okay. What am I selling second-hand, David? Do I play VATSIM? Yeah. Yeah, so you can upgrade your license from a 2020 license to a 2024 license, and I think then you get a 1-year period where you can use both, and then in a year's time your 2021 will stop working. Hopefully at that point, 2020 will be in the rearview mirror. Hopefully. This still gives me launch day vibes. Is VATSIM a Microsoft flight simulator thing? No, it's kind of simulator agnostic, really. You can use X-Plane, you can use Flight Sim 2020, 24. I think some people even use FSX. You can use P3D, I think. You have a little piece of software called vPilot that hooks into whatever sim it is you're using, and then you can see pilots from various sims all on the same network. It's really nice. Where do you stand on current sim version's VRAM consumption? Do I still think it's too high? Seems to be dividing the community. Yeah, that's yeah, that's pretty much standard behaviour, isn't it, though, for the community. Right now, I feel like it's still a bit on the high side. It does seem to be a bit better today. Like, it is getting there slowly. But it's still not where it needs to be, in my opinion. I did a Sim Update 3, did they fix the VRAM issue video while it was in beta quite early on. My plan is to do another one once we're out of beta. And see if it made a difference. Let's just check the weather is not live. A few clouds, that's fine. What? Why is that bloke sat in here with me? You're not normally there. Go away. That's new. PMDG setup. Happy days. Right, as a refresher then, our graphic settings are 4K, sorry. Won't do any dynamic settings this time, and we're using my preferred settings, which are a variation of Ultra. You need to turn on this. And we'll do... Oh, are you kidding me? Please restart Flight Sim 24 with the 777, then FSI. You got to be shitting me. Is that going to work if I just restart it? Yes! We tricked it. Right, let's move the aircraft. We'll set maximum landing weight. And I need to start spad.next for my throttles. I feel my motherboard is severely limiting my options for CPUs and GPUs. I got the Gigabyte A550. A550, I don't even know. Not even sure what that is. Right, FSI panel should start the show any second. Again, it's like a combination of being CPU limited and GPU limited, isn't it? Right now. What is it doing? Is it not doing? Come on. Oh, the headset, David. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, because I don't know what Pimax would actually do with it if I gave it back to them. Like, it's kind of... I mean, it's not ruined in any sense of the word, but at the same time, would you buy a headset that someone had owned for a year? Not sure I would. And equally, if I was Pimax, like, what am I going to do? Put it on the website and be like, oh yeah, some bloke had this for a year. Like, good luck. Why is it being so slow? It's a pre-built PC from Curry's. What CPU have you got? Why is this taking so long? SDK is not available. What? I'm going to have to back out the sim. See, this is what normally happens if I spend a day to myself just doing benchmarking. This is like a standard day, really, just like dealing with crap like this all day long to put out an 8-minute video. It's all good fun, though. It's just you get to see me do it in real time. Yeah, Curry's pre-builts are never greatest. Can you use the Pimax with glasses on? Yeah, so they sent me an extra piece of foam, like a bigger bit of foam to go over your glasses. By default, the answer is probably not. Looking good so far, Chelsea. It's looking good. Gratefully slow. Tell you what, I'm going to use this opportunity to nip to the loo. Back in a moment. Right, I'm back. It's so nice that 24 boots quickly, because that would have taken a good 8 minutes on 2020 with all my add-ons. Yeah, Mum. Right. One more time for the people. How the hell can it be the same bloody broom then? Oh no. Oh no, it's okay. When the yoke goes like that, it generally means the plane can't phone home and activate itself. Right, let's try FSI panel this time. Oh god, I've just loaded DaVinci Resolve. Don't load DaVinci Resolve. Don't do it. I don't want you to do that. That's going to take up loads of resources. Treat myself to a little quaver while I'm at it. Living the dream. How much is my setup? I think you must be like the 4th person to ask that in the last half an hour. I don't know, man. It's got to be over 1,000 at this point. I'd rather not think about it. Thank goodness I didn't pay for it all because some brands sent some stuff. Right, let me just make sure that weather's all good before we get stuck in. DaVinci Resolve is so good. Pounds, I think. Nice. Right. Hopefully in a mo.
2,500.
It'll say we can stamp on the brakes. And it'll land for us. Here we go. Approach mode. Please and thank you. Okay, 4K. No dynamic settings. Just curious to see if things get better for us with a 2024 plane. Yes, Martin, it is. Atticus, yeah. Once we land, I will. We're so close to 60, aren't we? Yes, Samuel, the freighter. Again, it's just flicking between being CPU and GPU limited, isn't it? Advanced sync. Martin caused me loads of trouble last time I used it.
500.
I'm not sure it was all it was cracked up to be. Magnum, I don't actually have OBS on the PC. I've got a separate streaming PC. So there's no streaming overhead going on right now.
300.
Alright. Stay above 40. Come on. It's dipping a bit, isn't it?
200.
Occasionally seeing like 39.
100. 50. 30. 20. 10.
Yeah, so sort of seeing 30 somethings, aren't we, there as we sort of roll out. Seen a few threes there. So, on that basis, let's go into settings. FS reviews, how are you? Dynamic settings on target of 45. And we'll do the whole thing all over again. Why no traffic? Because we can replicate this test on my 5800X3D and I can do side-by-side comparisons then. Because if we were on VATSIM now and I was in observer mode, I could do a landing into here. However, I would then, by the time I've ripped out my system, put my old 5800X3D back in, reactivated all of my licenses, blah, 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 all the traffic had disappeared. At least this way we can get consistent test comparison results. Survived another video. How can I use VATSIM on Xbox? Don't think you can. Right, what was I doing? CPU temp is currently 69, for those wondering. Performance, tuning, these are my undervolt settings. Ooh. It's all gone. Okay, that's probably just as well actually for this testing because of the driver upgrade. Alright, let's get rid of that. Hold that thought. Yeah, done all the drivers' FS reviews, yeah. Okay, so we've put a dynamic settings limit in of 45, which if it starts to get sort of 50, 49, 48, you'll see the terrain level of detail factor start to dip down. It's currently at 1.0, which means it's unaffected. Although it did just dip down to 0.9 there for a second. Is there any other way I can talk to ATC on Xbox? Don't believe there is. Oh, we are perilously close to 60, aren't we? Is that a 737 throttle? No, it's A320. Okay, the train LOD is starting to think about it at 0.91. It's like there's a definite rhythm to a stutter. But every now and then it just sort of goes bloop, doesn't it? And I don't think any CPU in the world is going to fix that. I think Asobo had to fix that. Yeah, we're going to test with Auto FPS shortly as well. So we're using the dynamic settings, which does a very similar thing to Auto FPS, albeit some people argue not as well. So you can see that train LOD factor 0.91.
1,000.
See what it dips to. Definitely a stutter going on, isn't there? There you go, train LOD factor's now 0.7, 0.6. So it is dipping. Although there does just seem to be a stutter, like a periodic stutter. Holding though, isn't it? Roughly at about 50. Albeit with little micro stutters.
30, 20, 10.
Oh. So it would seem that we're not immune to stutters after all. One thing I'd like to do very, very quickly is take us down to 1440 and leave the dynamic settings on. And we'll try it again. Mm-hmm. Oh, flirting with 60. What program is that to prep everything? That's FSI panel. Manflex. Sets you up for landings. Brakes for 3 seconds. There is a definite stutter every now and then, isn't there? There you go, there it is again. Wait a second, there it is again. The Mani 7900 XTX is the best choice. I would say so. I would say so because say I picked mine up for £600, and when you compare and contrast to what a 24 gig card 4090, 5090 would cost, it's like, yeah, not even close, is it? There's a definite blip in our performance, isn't there? It's like almost like a heartbeat. It's like it dips and it climbs up, then it dips and it climbs up. And I think that's just the sim. Any CPU would do that. So with our GPU limit at about 10 milliseconds, we are still CPU limited, but that's fine because we're CPU limited at actually quite a nice frame rate. If we were to chuck FSR frame gen on top of this, and the other thing is, of course, if I were to go back to 1440p, there is the possibility that I could then throw back in my 4080. Because I did rather like that card. Beep, 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 beep. Will it work for the Phoenix? Yeah. If you buy the advanced edition, I think in 24.
500. 400. 300. 200. 100.
Okay, keep an eye on the FPS. If it's going to go, this is when it's going to go.
30. 20. 10.
Not bad. Plus 40 on the roll. That ain't half bad, is it? That ain't half bad. What do you think? Again, like, you're still going to get those occasional weird little stutters. That's the sim. Like, I don't think any processor will get over that for you. You could be here for a year and a day buying hardware and you're still going to... Like that little blip then. It's almost like a heartbeat. It'll go again in a second. Wait for it. There it goes. See it? I had a blip, and it was the fact that the X3D CPUs run better in balance mode and not performance. Really? Right. One other thing I want to check. I want to get the latest version of Auto FPS, and we're going to try this landing again. Right, I'm going to quickly download Auto FPS. No, it's telling me not to download it. I do want to download it though. Keep. Really keep it. No, I haven't yet, Wasp. Stuart, we're on the 7900 at the moment. Should we do auto start? Yeah, go on then. Now this is going to yell at me. Okay, it looks like auto FPS is running because it's auto disabled the train LOD factor, I think. Let's turn that off. Is it running yet? Where even is it? Where does it go once you install it? I always forget where it goes. What on earth is going on down there? What's all that rubbish on my wings? What? Stream Deck's gone off. Right, auto FPS. Where are you? I'm going to have to reboot the sim to get it to load. Like, where's it installed itself? I don't know where it's installed itself. Unless I just reboot the sim, then it'll do it. We'll try it this way. Right, so load sim again. Atticus, if you're still there, my undervolt settings are minimum 2400, maximum 2500, 11 volts, undervolt of 1120, I believe. And I think I overclocked the VRAM to 2714 because to get 2700 you need to give it a 14 megahertz offset. I don't know why the reason is, it's just the reason. Doesn't make a lot of sense to me, but it is what it is. Did I get the Antec C5? No, I haven't got a case yet. I need to, I don't know if that's on a Prime Day deal. If it is, I might have to look into it. It's just a little bit too big and a bit too fat for where I want to put it, is the only trouble. Right, how's it loaded? Where's the little dog? Auto FPS, where have you gone? It's not loaded, is it? Is it still installing? Come on, auto FPS. What are you doing? Hey, it's done. If you've installed Auto FPS for the first time, reboot your PC. Oh, really? Alright, guys. Sorry. Let's do it properly, because we're benchmarking. 12 o'clock. It's half my day gone. Benchmarking takes so long. Same problem as you. I owned a 5080 and a 7900 XTX. Damn. Do you have all content locally, or are you streaming much of it? Bit of both. Try and do a bit of both. In an ideal world, if I didn't have to go to work in the week, I would stream Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and make videos Tuesday, Thursday. Am I going to do a short form video on the upgrade? I'm going to condense this live stream down and do a voiceover and turn it into a sort of an analysis video. Basically, I had a choice this morning. I could either not stream and just sit here quietly doing this by myself all day, or I could just do it anyway and stream it to you and figure you could watch it if you want and not if you don't. Damn, that heatsink is very good at getting the heat out of that CPU. There's a lot of hot air going on back there. A friend of mine keeps sending me links to Amazon. All the stuff that's on sale. We'll have a look at the Amazon deals in a bit, because I want to see if there's any, like, gear deals on and stuff. Right. Steam, where are you? FSI panel, and we want SPAD. Got the Montec 95 King Pro. I was looking at the Montec XR. I mean, Amazon don't sell it. It's very much a... I think Scan do it. I'll show you what I'm thinking about once we've concluded our testing. Are there any other tests you think we should do? I've done Edinburgh in 4K with and without dynamic settings in the Phoenix A319. I've done Heathrow in the Freighter. I've done Heathrow in the A319 also. Amazing deal on an LG C4. Oh, don't say that, Stuart. I meant to ask you if you have all flight sim on a local driver or are you streaming? Oh, I see. I stream it all, to be honest. I mean, I'm quite lucky. I've got 900 down, 400 up internet, so... Philip says Dubai. Right, let's go back to Heathrow. With auto FPS. And let's try landing. What size OLED is that for 679? Is that a 48? That's a 65. I need to buy it immediately. 42. Damn. Okay, let's just fire the plane. Do I have the Melbourne scenery? Yes, Macabell, I do, actually. That's a good point. Right. So what's our settings in here then? Expert options. Someone said the other day to do 75 as the minimum, because then you don't get such terrible landing performance. Like the visual degradation. Target FPS. I'm going to go 45. Good. Right, EGLL. Do 27 right, long final, move the aircraft, maximum landing weight, that's all fine. Oh, weather. Few clouds, midday. Great. Is there any benefit to setting it so auto FPS sets the minimum? Don't know, Nemi. I'm not really an expert in auto FPS, or not in the latest versions. Right, where is auto FPS, speaking of? Let's pop that down there. So, terrain level of detail is currently 200. Object level of detail is set to 90. We'll see what it does, shall we? Oh, PMDG, blimey, we're not using Captain Sim, flippin' heck. Yeah, Mark, 7900 XTX, mate. As everyone's saying. Okay, approach mode. 1440p, ultra settings with some tweaks, auto FPS enabled. See what it does, shall we? In fairness, the VRAM is looking a lot better, isn't it? The creator of Auto FPS has a newer app called Dynamic FPS. I've used both and like the latter more. How'd you get set up for landing like this? FSI panel. Nice one, Daniel. Hope you enjoy it, mate. We'll give Dynamic FPS a go in a minute, shall we? Terrain level of detail is slowly coming down, isn't it? Daniel, depends what resolution. 1080p might be alright. I mean, it is bouncing around a bit, the FPS, but it's bouncing around mostly with a 5 in front of it, which I can live with. Obviously, we're not all the way down yet, so any builds yet.
1,000.
What res? We're at 1440p right now. Shut up, Rob. Look at that. We're so close to 60. Into Heathrow. Any builds Heathrow. One of the most demanding areas of the sim.
500.
I would imagine we might get to like in the mid-40s for touchdown. That's kind of where I'd imagine we'd be.
400.
I just watched a short of me buttering. Oh, I always do that.
200.
Yeah, I'm on.
100. 50. 30. 20. 10.
What do you reckon? Not too shabby? That's at 1440p, and we did so intentionally to get that GPU limit out the way. Eight out of 10. I think no matter what you do, you're going to get the odd little droop here and there. I mean, we could... Is it busy on VATSIM at the moment? Like, we could go somewhere and go into observer mode. Is my point. Heathrow's actually pretty bloody busy. Let's go into observer mode. Let's do it. Right, make sure we connect in observer mode. Because we really don't want to connect not in observer mode. Connected to host. Wait a minute. It's because I've got a new network card. Network. Host. What's my IP at the minute? Let's try that. Try a landing wasp first, I think. Right, I'm connected in observer mode. So I shouldn't be in the way. I really hope, anyway.
Traffic.
Yep. Connected to the network in observer mode, it says. So I'm definitely in observer mode. I'm definitely not going to cause a problem. think so, Paul, yeah.
500.
I mean, I don't feel too, like, precious over it, because all I did was really traded in some old consoles that I never played in the loft, so I didn't actually have to pay too much money for it. If I paid, like, £800 for it, I'd be a bit like, but... Alright. Quite a bit going on at the moment, as you can see on the ground. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's quite busy, I would say. So we will see how it goes. The changing numbers mark is it's all built in to the thing. It's the Sims built-in frame counter. Now, so far, I'm not seeing a great deal of difference. Between being on VATSIM and not being on VATSIM. I consoled myself by buying a new CPU. Yeah. I tell you what, though, it did sting getting rid of the GameCube. But all the other ones I couldn't care less. Like the old PS2, that was basically on its last legs. I was surprised they even accepted it. Original Xbox, similar. The GameCube, that one stung a bit. Alright, here we go. Auto FPS, turning the terrain level of detail right down. Again, still running 1440p. Just trying to keep that GPU limit out of our way so we can stress test the CPU portion of the system. I haven't overclocked it, Ethan, no. I haven't done any overclocking. This is all just out of the box. Okay, there should be a plane on the taxiway. Yes, there is. I can see it. Traffic in sight.
400.
Hopefully we don't stamp all over him. I mean, we're in observer mode, so he won't see us, but...
200.
It looks like VATSIM, for the most part, is kind of...
100.
multi-threaded.
50. 30. 20. 10.
Don't know, that seemed alright to me. What do you all think? Not bad. I mean, that's a reasonably busy Heathrow, isn't it? Reasonably. Are we going to get a plane sort of whiz over us any second? We probably are, aren't we? Yeah, we are. Keep an eye out for that plane. Let's taxi to T5. Oh yeah, still had autopilot on, my bad. I thought it didn't want to turn then. Pretty good, huh? Just feels like there's a little bit more breathing room being at 1440p. It's almost like you're not ragging your system to the bleeding edge, you know? Nah, it's all good. Don't worry. We're on observer mode for VATSIM, so we can see everyone, but they can't see us. Yeah, Ethan, I'm going to look at overclocking it, maybe do a separate video on that. Well, I'd say this is quite tidy, really. Quite tidy indeed. The temptation to get a 1440p variable refresh rate monitor to replace my 4K TV is quite high right now. Quite high indeed. We're at 50 on the ground at Heathrow and VATSIM. Not bad at all. We're only using 10 gig of VRAM as well, which is encouraging. Might be a 7900 XTX for sale before long, we don't know. Good job I kept that 4080 hanging around, right? Defender is doing very well. Well, as I'm sure you can see for yourself, we're doing alright. So what's this dynamic FPS all about then? Rather than using auto FPS. Dynamic LOD. Reset exponder, yeah? Okay. What makes it better? What makes it better than what we have? Less busy doesn't try to change so much. Ah, here we go. So this is on his website. Or on the GitHub page, I should say. Which app should I use? Dynamic LOD Reset Edition or Auto FPS? Essentially, both apps are intended to give you better all-over performance, but with different priorities to achieve it in a slightly different experience. They both allow lower TLOD when at higher altitude and not in close proximity to complex scenery or traffic. They also adjust object level of detail and cloud quality, but TLOD is usually the most important determiner of performance. Okay. Where they differ is Dynamic LOD provides user set tables for LOD changes at specific altitudes, giving user precise control over when and where these changes take place, such that they can optimize them to their particular flight activity they normally do, and can set a profile for each. That's quite cool. The price of such precise control is that the user must initially be intimately familiar with LODs to be able to tune a variety of settings in the app for the best outcome, and this can be a bit daunting. You can understand that. Alternatively, Auto FPS seeks to automate these changes as much as possible based on a target FPS and a minimum and maximum LOD range. This results in a much simpler and generally similarly acceptable user experience compared to Dynamic LOD. Nonetheless, Auto FPS tends to make constant small changes to TLOD, much more than Dynamic LOD does. This can induce stuttering on older hardware as it struggles to manage even small scenery changes. In these cases, the users would be better off using Dynamic LOD in a more manually tuned approach. This app does not detect correct FrameGen FPS when FrameGen is enabled. However, FrameGen is only active when Microsoft is the active window. Okay. Hmm. Don't know then. Although FSR FrameGen can be implemented with an adaptive multiplier, Microsoft Flight Sim currently implements it with a fixed 2x multiplier that is active regardless. I don't know then. I don't know. Right, I'm going to disconnect just in case I am actually in the way. Quite impressive. Oh, hang on a minute. Right, FPS connected to VATSIM when it's not stuttering, 64, 65, agreed? Can we agree on that? Connect to VATSIM. What does it do? $57, 55, 56, 57, 55, 56, 57, little dip. So VATSIM is essentially costing us 57 is pretty much the peak, isn't it? Disconnect. And we go to 64, 65. So it's costing us about 7 FPS. I would be tempted to remain on auto FPS, to be honest. I'm not sure I want to get into like all that detail. So VATSIM costs 7 FPS. The worst FPS I've had Donny has been like 30, which is pretty good, really, to be honest. That's a pretty good place to be. That is a very good place to be. That's an interesting observation as well, isn't it? We lose 7 FPS at Heathrow on VATSIM. That ain't bad. What I would like to do, actually, though, is jump back to Eddie in the 319. Now we've got auto FPS. If y'all don't mind. And if you do mind, I'm doing it anyway because it's my stream. Get your own stream. Get your own damn stream. I honestly thought VATSIM would cost us more than 7 FPS though, didn't you? So it does go to show, really, that I think kind of the multi-threading element of Flight Sim 24 is kind of there in certain instances. Because I feel like on 2020 that would have killed us. Oh, look at that livery. Whoever made that livery needs a raise. Let's get her fired up. 1440p here at Eddie on the runway, 13.5 gigs of VRAM used, with TLOD set to 75. I think we'll keep hold of the 7900 XTX for a minute, even if we go 1440p. Do I think the A350 is heavy performance-wise? Yeah. Last time I flew it, it didn't fly very nicely either. But I'm not going to dwell on that, because I'm going to retest it soon in a video. But if it still is what I fear it is, it's going back in the hangar indefinitely. Which is a shame, if that's the case. But reading about on Reddit, I've got an awful feeling it is going to be the case. Oh, God. What have I done? Don't do it. I want EGPH, not Heathrow. Select airport, select runway. Long final. Gets broken more with each update, don't bother. Really? I thought it was starting to get better at least. It's a shame, isn't it? Because I feel like there was such a fuss made by the community when it launched, and you know, I remember feeling so lost because I didn't like it, but everyone else did. Very, very confused by that. Okay, thrust levers to climb. Am I using FSR on my 7900 XTX? Nope, this is just all native. The A332. You reckon, Wasp? I don't really feel like I'm needing too many more planes, really, because I feel like we've got the 777, the whole Phoenix family. The Phoenix family is about to get bigger and better. Even for the stuff that's remaining, it's going to get a big update, isn't it? You've got the iFly if you're desperate for a 7.3 in 24 right now. PMDG hopefully won't be a million miles away with theirs. Oh, and I don't know that. I don't know anything about their schedule, but I can only hope. How you doing, Hat? Right, let's do it. Let's see what it does. It's not doing too bad, Mark. We've just started using auto FPS with it to see if that can improve things further for us. But look, no frame gen. We're at 1440p, but that's only to try and get a GPU limitation out of the way, because at 4K we're quite often GPU limited, therefore the CPU can't stretch its legs. We're doing alright. So auto FPS is managing things for us. Yes, Ryzen 7, as NetEase says. Saying my levers are asymmetrical. It shouldn't be. That's pretty good though, isn't it? Like, nearly 60 on approach into Eddy. Imagine if we turn frame gen on. We'll do frame gen on in a minute. I had a 5800X3D beforehand. I'd love to see what Black Square could do with something like a 757. I'm hoping Bluebird's not going to be a million miles away. Hey, Yossi. $399 at overclockers, that's a good deal, isn't it? I mean, I paid $420 for mine second hand from CEX, but I only bought it from CEX because I had vouchers for them, so it was relevant, really, the price of it elsewhere. This is pretty good, though. Yeah, I heard that, Netties. It could be cool, couldn't it? Yeah, we are limited by main thread. Okay, so train level of details dropped to 75. Figured I'd go with 75 rather than 50, just so you don't get so much drop off in the distance. Like if you were landing into New York right now, you wouldn't be able to see Manhattan if you were landing at JFK if you were at 50, but if you're in 75 you might be able to see a bit of something, if you know what I mean. Settings is basically ultra. Just tuned down a bit. I've got a video all about my settings on the channel if you want to watch that. Recommend it. Can help you get a few more FPS back.
200.
Alright.
100. 50. 40. 30. 20. 10. 5.
Pretty tidy that, I would say. That's pretty tidy. Oh, I can't take credit for that landing. It was an auto land. They've all been auto lands. Yeah, it's pretty alright that, isn't it? Pretty alright. What happens then if we enable frame generation? Let's get rid of that. Graphics. Frame gen. Now we're going to get loads of tearing because I'm on a fixed refresh rate monitor. Which is why I think maybe I should pick one up today on Prime Day. Not doing bad, are we? Bung. I also noticed the other day when we had frame gen on, and I'd capped my FPS to like 30, and then it doubles it to 60, so it kind of doesn't look awful on my 60 Hz monitor. I noticed that out of the left-hand kind of window there that you can see, just above the EFB, we would see this weird like tearing as we rolled down the runway, and I tried it on my 27-inch 165 Hz variable refresh rate monitor last night. That's gone with FSR3, or I didn't notice it at least. Come on then, approach mode. Approach mode? What the hell? Approach mode. Why aren't you working? Guys, approach mode isn't working. Come on. Does it not have the thing in? RadNav? Oh, what is it? Is it ITH? Freddy. Yeah, it is. Good job I remembered that, eh? Approach mode. Thank you. Right, let's see what it does now, because we got frame gen on. It might not detect that we have frame gen. So I want to really see what happens to the TLOD. Because I think as far as... maybe I should do auto detect FPS. What's NFR? Native frame rate? Let's just do auto. That's better, isn't it? The temptation to get a variable refresh rate monitor is quite high right now, I'm not going to lie. Okay, TLOD's down to 75 now. Still, we're not doing bad, are we? 100 FPS. I know half of those are like fake, but... yeah, Netties, there's a super, isn't there? Rumoured.
500. 400. 300.
Oh no, we dipped below 100 FPS. What am I going to do?
200. 100.
Still, looking out the window, it looks fairly tidy. I would say.
50, 40, 30, 20, 10. Retard.
I think we're on to a winner here, to be honest. Wouldn't you? Now, the one last test I want to do is going back into 4K. Keeping the frame gen on. In fact, let's do frame gen off and see if we're GPU limited. like we once were. Yeah, it would seem so, wouldn't it? Even with auto FPS. If you've got an Nvidia card and you can use Nvidia frame gen, I would take that over AMD's. But if you've got an AMD card like myself and you've got no choice, well then, you know, you can... you've got options. Have I just closed FSI panel? I have as well. Muppet. We haven't been to Freeway Gatwick yet. We need to go to Freeway Gatwick after this, alright? So we'll do one quick last test here, then we're off to Gatwick. Good old Gatters. Yeah, I think you're going to get stutters no matter what hardware you've got, to be honest with you. I feel like the sim has got some work to do to just solve that in software. And it doesn't matter what hardware you throw at it, it is still going to stutter sometimes, and that's kind of all there is to it, really. There's only so much, really, we can do by throwing hardware at a problem. But yeah, the 16 gig VRAM limit of that 4080 was so annoying. What's the white thing on the left? That is auto FPS. Or you mean this? Not sure what you mean. Auto FPS is this little application that dynamically adjusts your frames or your terrain level of detail such that you get a better performance. That's the theory anyway. That is true, Romeo Kilo. So 4K, auto FPS, frame gen on. What happens now? That's just the built-in frame counter wags on the right from the sim. If you enable developer mode in the options, you can just toggle it on and off from the top bar that you'll get. Oh man. Yeah, Rob, I mean, well, it depends really, because like at 4K, it's quite a balance really, because if you look at the GPU usage, that's currently at 18, it's kind of in yellow halfway down the stats there, 18, 19 milliseconds. Then you look at the main thread, 18, 17, 19, 20 milliseconds, so it's bouncing between being limited by one or the other at 4K. So that, to me, tells me that it's balanced. How do you change from 4K to 1080? Just in the graphics menu. 4K will cause a lot of stutters. Magnum, you probably won't notice a lot of difference between what we've already done in 1440p, because the millisecond frame time on a GPU is 10 milliseconds at 1440p, and the main thread was at like 18, 19. So the GPU limit was well out of the way at that point. But I would say this is quite a big success. I mean, the sim, I'm not saying that this is like some sort of like, you know, miracle cure. The sim is still going to stutter on me and yeah, there's going to be times where it's like, oh, what is it doing? Because it's the sim, like that's what it does. 7900 XTX Tire Hunter is my GPU. And I need a nap. Maybe I can fit in an afternoon nap. This is the A319. Still, this isn't bad going, is it? It also feels like the VRAM's a lot better as well recently with this latest sim update. Like 4K. Ultra settings, albeit with auto FPS and frame gen. 13.5 gig. Now this would still be causing me problems on a 4080.
500. 400.
Make no mistake, because that would be very close to its maximum amount of VRAM that the sim would be allocated, 13.8 gig. Very close. So while it looks fine on here, and we're like, oh, maybe we could put the 4080 back in. Probably be a bad idea.
300.
Sim update 3. Latest. I think we're very close to what's actually going to ship. You know, this could be
200.
what we're using now. Could be what comes out on like Thursday if they release it on Thursday or whatever. You know.
100.
Keep in mind we're running frame gen, so whatever FPS you see is kind of doubled.
50. 40. 30. 20. 10. 5.
Struggling to see a lot wrong with that, to be honest. Now we're at 14.6 gig. Now we're on the ground. Pretty good, huh? Pretty good. Is frame gen good for a low-end PC? If your base frame rate is not high, don't expect frame gen to be a cure for that. Right. Let's do the big one. Let's do Gatwick. Let's go 2-6 left. Let's do a long final. No mucking around. Only problems with GSX? Yeah, I imagine that's a GSX thing.
Terrain ahead.
Pull up. Now then, what I might do is potentially really upset FSI panel in the process. Go back to 1440p. Get that CPU limitation, GPU limitation out of the way. In fact, I might turn off frame gen while I'm at it. This is really going to upset FSI panel, isn't it? Sorry, FSI panel. You don't deserve this. You're too good. $60 FPS on final into Gatwick. I never thought I'd see the day. Never thought I'd see the day. God. What's the Gatwick code? IWW, isn't it? There it is. The plane's caught the glide just in time. Should I buy the AJ1330J? No idea. No, Magnum, I haven't.
2,500.
I'm streaming all the stuff. And yes, Alex, TAA. Hey Bertie, how's it going? Testing's going well. So we're on final into Gatwick. We are running auto FPS. I'm telling it to auto target everything, although I've told it not to go down to 50 LOD. I want it at 75. Because I find 50 is a little bit on the yucky side when it goes that low. But it's not doing bad, is it? I know what I'm going to have to do tonight. I'm going to have to whack in the old 5800X3D and redo all of this testing, but I won't do that with you having to watch it, because that would suck. I'm wondering if I need to redo it all, actually. Do I need to redo it all? Do I need to redo all of that testing in with the 5800X3D? Could I just show you it with the 9800X3D and not do side-by-sides? What do you think for the video? Best to do side-by-side comparisons, 58 versus 98, or just focus on 9800 without knowing necessarily what the 5800X3D got in the same scenario? Not needed.
1,000.
Should be side by side. Oh yeah, I think Judge is right. Just so I can sort of say, like, here at Edinburgh, on approach into 2.4 in the A319 5800X3D, we're getting, I don't know, 36 FPS, and then cut to the 9800X3D, so people can get a sense of what kind of a difference they're up for. It is a lot of faffing around, but I don't mind putting in the hours to make the video better. Never have a problem with that. I do have old videos, but it would be on older drivers, on older versions of the sim.
400.
So what I'm going to do, Magnum, I'll probably spend this evening, once the kids are in bed and I've sort of, you know, hopped around on one leg and clicked my fingers 3 times, trying to make them go to sleep, get out here and reinstate the 5800X3D for one evening only. Look at this, 50 FPS into Gatwick, my god. Albeit with auto FPS.
200.
No, but this is 3. This is impressive.
50, 40, 30, 20, 10, retard. Come on, rudders.
Okay, not the greatest landing because the auto land was a bit on the firm side, but maintaining 50 on the roll into Gatwick. Is that auto FPS doing the heavy lifting there then? I wonder. Let's close auto FPS. One more time for the people. 150, ultra, 100, clouds. Good. I always find comparisons a little odd.
Terrain ahead.
But he says, I find comparisons a little odd. It's also very dependent on what else might be running on the PC, how things are configured, BIOS settings, lots of other things that can affect a person's mileage with the same hardware. Even just an ambient room temp. Yeah. Lucky that I've got an aircon in here. So I can maintain a constant temperature at least. Okay. Now throw VATSIM at it. Alex, we did earlier. We went into observer mode into Heathrow and we did a landing in the 777 freighter while connected to VATSIM in an observer mode. And it's fairly busy on the ground at Heathrow, I thought. And we only lost 7 FPS when turning it on, turning it off. Let's give the 5800X3D a good send-off. Yeah, you're right. I'll have to redo all of my licenses again, but whatever. Or maybe I'll do it tomorrow. Maybe I'll do it tomorrow. If I can order a new case and get that ordered, that'll mean I won't have to rip my system apart to get to the case. That's probably the plan, isn't it? Order a new PC case, pop the 5800X3D in that case, then all I'll need to do is take out my SSD and my graphics card, and I don't have to like re-flipping wire the whole system, because that'll be a pain in the backside to do that. Right, that's a plan. That's a plan. A10 says I've got to revert to 2020 because 24 is just horrid without FSR3. Even then it's still awful, even with decent specs. I run out of VRAM on a 16 gig card. Yep, that's the same thing I had. That's why I had to go for a 7900 XTX. I didn't really want a 7900 XTX. I mean, nothing against it. I had nothing against it, but I wasn't like sat here thinking, oh god, it'd be so nice to have one of those. Because I was totally happy with my 4080 Super, but then just VRAM just kept rearing its ugly head again and again and again and again on live streams, and it's like, I can't keep doing this. Got to do something. Captain, the testing's going great, thanks. We are currently heading into Gatwick on an auto land with no auto FPS, no frame gen. We're using my ultra-ish settings. So train level of details 150, object level of details 100, and I've just turned a few little things down from ultra to high. And on approach into Gatwick, we are dangerously close to 60 FPS, aren't we? Yeah, CT, I think I'm going to show both. I think I owe it to the people's. So there's a lot of people out there on a 5800X3D that might be curious to think, how much of a difference is it really? Like, is it really? Like, I've got no motive. Like, I know you might think I'm kind of invested at this point in that I really want it to work out, and that the 9800X3D looks good. But honestly, I don't care. Like, I'll just show you the numbers. You can make your own mind up then. Yeah, freeway Gatwick. That's what I love about live streams in a way, is that there's nowhere to hide. Not that I would make a video in an attempt to deceive you and to cover something up, but it's just like there's an inherent honesty about them. Like if I mess up right now, you're going to see it. And that's that.
1,000.
Whereas with a video, there's always kind of that like nagging doubt of like, am I being played somehow? Well, that's how I feel when I watch a lot of videos on YouTube. What's the motive of the creator? What's really... What are they really wanting to happen right now, you know? Whereas a live, if all of a sudden I bin it on a live, it's like, oh well, that's that, let's move on. Rather than, oh, I wonder how I can maybe edit that out. Or make it look more favourable to me. That's pretty good, Dylan. That's good going, mate. Okay, so keep in mind that when we had auto FPS on, we were sort of in the 50s, weren't we, on touchdown? Now we're more like in the 40s.
400.
Butter this landing if you can. We're actually doing auto lands, so that when we do comparison landings in the 5800X3D, it'll be the same.
300.
Still. 40 odd into Gatwick. So this would be more like 42 on VATSIM, wouldn't it?
100. 50, 40, 30, 20, 10, retard.
Still, that's quite tidy, I would say. Quite tidy indeed. Should we go for a little taxi? Just to see. Let's go to my stand, 567. Wasn't somebody working on a... I don't know what that is, Magnum. Not familiar, I'm afraid. Bit of music. Stream feels dead without the music. Yeah, that's a plan. Get a PC case ordered. Then I can have a 5800X3D platform case and I can have a 9800X3D platform case. Do it, Romeo. FSI panel, so flipping good. Airliner similar to the Comet. Oh. Yeah, still definitely still not familiar. This is playing nicely though, isn't it, this? Can't argue with this at all. What CPU cooler? I've got, oh, what's it called? Peerless Assassin. It's like 35 quid, and it is humongous, and it covers up my RAM, which is why I wasn't that bothered about getting the non-RGB RAM, because that's all that CEX had in DDR5 6000 CL30. I've always been an RGB Corsair kind of guy. I was a little bit disappointed to not be able to get that again. But equally, I was paying for it all with vouchers, so I wasn't really in a position to be fussy. I can't believe it booted. It took ages to boot. I got a red CPU light when I first put it all together, because I was like, damn it, this is all like second-hand crap from CEX. No wonder it's not working. That's why I ended up in CEX in the first place. I started getting grumpy. And I thought, no, just be patient. It's probably doing all the RAM timings. And sure enough, after about a minute of agony, it turned on. Yeah, so there's a ton of heat coming out the back of my case, which tells me that it's working. Look at that, 12.67 gigs, 1440p. Here we are, back home again. Stand 567. My favourite stand at Gatwick. For no apparent reason. A tuned version of Ultra, so Ultra just with a few things turned down. I wanted to run at 1440 just because otherwise we'd be GPU limited and we would therefore be unable to see the full effectiveness of the CPU. Damn, well I think that's quite enough tests to be getting on with. I'm probably going to leave it there, I think. Because what have we got? We've got... let's put my face cam back on now. Now I've done all my testing. I've done Edinburgh in the A319 at 4K with and without dynamic settings. I've done Edinburgh at 1440p with and without dynamic settings. We've done Edinburgh with and without auto FPS, or with auto FPS with and without frame gen. Heathrow with the 777. We've done Gatwick. So I'd say we're looking alright. We're looking alright. Why do all these fools fly airliners? What's that supposed to mean, Locke? Tell us everything. Let us help you. What's wrong? Bless. Right. Yeah, I think the plan for me now is... get a PC case ordered. We haven't actually looked at the Prime Day deals yet, have we? We should probably do that. I'll show you what I've got in mind. Come on, Amazon, wake up. I'm not even signed into Amazon, but it seems to think it knows where I am. Oh, ding! Who's dinging at me? I'll show you the monitor I'm going to look at. Where is it? It is the gigabyte. GS, where is it? Where's it gone? It better not have sold out. It was here earlier. I'm going to be angry if it sold out. Here we go. No, that's still the wrong one. Where is it? Holy hell, there's not many of them left. Is that the right one? Oh man, I don't know. Basically, I want to get a 1440p 32-inch monitor. That's the plan. Variable refresh rate, all that jazz. Maybe that'll do us nicely. I don't know. We'll have to see. Anyway, I need to get some other recording stuff done for today, so I am going to have to end the stream here. I hope you found it useful, and keep your eyes peeled, of course, for the 5800X3D comparison video. That'll be probably tomorrow's job for me to record that half of the content. And then I shall be back on Thursday for a regular old stream where we can actually do some flying. So that'd be cool. Looking forward to that. Anyway, I gotta go. Other things to do, I'm afraid. Thank you all for coming along. So, sorry if you've not liked today's stream. I realise it is a bit of a risk putting it out there because it's not what we normally do. But I figured I could either do this with you or without you, and I figured, well, I might as well do it with you because I'm doing it either way. So, don't know. Got to try these things. Let me know what you think in the comments, of course. And I will see you all, if not before, on Thursday, where we'll probably continue our European capitals tour, where we need to redo flipping Helsinki to wherever it was because I messed up the landing. Never mind. Anyway, see you again soon. Behave yourselves. Look after each other. I'll see you next time. Cheers.